All right, so let's learn how this works. This is the most important part of this presentation. Learn how the deferred sales trust works. Okay. First thing. Okay, Charlie, you ready to interact?
Go. Oh, you want me to do it, or do you want to get
pick somebody? Pick someone to interact with us. Who do you,
yeah, let's do Sumac because she's actually involved in a situation like this.
Okay,
So,
Sue, are you ready?
yeah, there she is.
Ready.
Okay, Sue.
All right.
So, constructive receipt or actual receipt. Sue and me are doing a deal, and Charlie's escrow. If Charlie sends her those funds, she's going to actually receive those funds, and that means the taxes are due. The IRS says you've received the funds, Sue, you owe it, right? So that's constructive receipt. But instead, Sue, I may say, Sue, I want to do a seller carryback with you. So let's say Sue's selling your property for $10 million, Sue, and I gave you own it free and clear, okay? And I gave you a $2 million down payment. So in that scenario, Sue, how much actual receipt did you receive?
You gave me $2 million.
Yeah.
Wait a second. Hold on. $10 million. I own it outright. You said you gave me $2 million. So
right, well, $2 million. So how much did you get?
$2 million. 20%.
Got it. So you're going to owe tax on that $2 million, correct?
Yes.
Because you actually received it. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Sue, what if I did this though? What if I said, Sue, no, I don't want you to pay any tax, and I'm a really good guy. How about I give you a 0 down payment? Now, hypothetically, if you did that, if I gave you a 0 down payment, although you never do that in real life because I have no skin in the game, but hypothetically, if I gave you a 0 down payment, Sue, how much tax do you? How much actual receipt or constructive receipt did you receive?
0.
Got it. So if you received 0, Sue, how much tax do you owe today?
0.
You got it. So this is how a 1031 works. Sue may just say, Fred, I don't want to do that because I'm tied to you, and you may run the property to the ground. You may not pay me. I may have to foreclose. That's a big nightmare. Or you may even pay me off early once you add some value. And I don't want to pay taxes in a couple of years. I'm just going to do a 1031 exchange. So thanks for offering that, but let me just do a 1031 exchange. Now, that's also how a 1031 maintains non-constructive receipt. Because what Sue does is Sue says, hey, Mr. 1031 company, take money from Charlie, the escrow agent, send it there. I don't want it because if I receive it, it's over. If Charlie messes up and you don't set up a 1031 before close of escrow, you've received funds, it's too late. So that's how a 1031 maintains non-constructive receipt because it never actually touches Sue's hands. So Sue, does that make sense?
Yes.
Awesome. So this is how a deferred sales trust works. Let's call this Jack and Jill up here, and they're selling their property, and they're really, really excited. They have these assets to sell. And I'm going to try to pull up a little writing utensil here. If Zoom has that. Let me see. Charlie, do they have a writing utensil? Probably up here. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Draw. Okay, so it's let's just call it a $10 million asset. Okay, they're sending a $10 million asset. Let's just say their tax is $4 million. Okay, if they don't do a tax deferral strategy, that is their liability. So instead of selling directly to the cash buyer for $10 million, and the buyer giving the cash directly, of which they would owe the $4 million in tax, we're going to sell it to the trust in the same exact escrow. So you have this buyer lined up. They have $10 million. They're ready to buy. They're all excited. You're excited. You got the price. But instead of doing the top thing and taking the $4 million, they're just going to sell it to the trust for $10 million. Okay. Now, Sue.
Yeah.
They gave them a note for $10 million. And they gave them a down payment of 0. And I apologize for my writing here. It's on a mouse, and it's not so easy.
You're doing great. You're doing just
so
great.
Sue, if Jack and Jill received a 0 down payment in exchange for a note for $10 million, how much taxes do they owe right now?
0.
0. They're in a tax deferral state. Now here's the next one. The trust immediately sells it to the cash buyer for the $10 million, and the $10 million goes into the trust. Now, Sue, if the trust bought it for $10 million and sold it for $10 million, what's their gain?
0.
Sue, if they have a 0 gain, how much do they owe?
Nothing.
0.
0. You got it. So I'm going to pause right here, and I'm going to open it up for questions, but I want you to focus on this page alone. I know you have a bunch of other questions. I'm gonna talk about fees. I'm gonna talk about our track record, a bunch of stuff. But focus on this page and these arrows.
Okay, my question is, does this all happen at the closing table?
Yes.
And that's it. Like, this is just, we're all passing, what your mother used to always say, oh, we passed papers today. We're just sitting at the closing table, creating this whole trust right then and there.
Correct. It's an assignment of sale, actually. It's like a simultaneous close, 1, 2, 3. So it's going to sell there, and it's going to immediately sell to the buyer.
So there's no seasoning. This trust doesn't have to exist for any period of time.
No, we just have to have language in the purchase and sale agreement or a counter. We have to have that before the buyer removes all contingencies. So we have to follow these rules.
Oh, wait. Okay, this is important. Yeah, this is good stuff. Yep. All right, good to know this. Talk to me about that rule.
Yeah. This is simply what we add, Charlie. Or let's put Sue. Sue's selling the property. So Sue would have she would put in there, buyer comes in offer for $10 million. Sue would counter and say, sure, I accept your $10 million. Under this condition, seller, I have an option to a 1031 exchange or a deferred sales trust at no additional cost to the buyer. Makes no difference to the buyer whether Sue does a 1031, whether Sue pays the tax, whether Sue does a deferred sales trust. Doesn't affect title at all. It's completely a non-issue for the buyer. Okay, no issue at all. In fact, I've never had anyone say anything about it. It's a non-issue. But we have that language in there. Why? Because if the IRS did an audit of Sue, they'd want to know there was a tax deferral strategy before a certain point. If it passes over that point of non-constructive receipt, or it's considered constructive receipt, even if the deal hasn't closed. So if the buyer removes all contingencies and there's nothing impeding it from closing, and all Sue has to do is call up, that's really constructive receipt. Now, Sue may do a 1031 exchange. At that point, we have another window. We can do it at day 46. So if you're saying, oh, no, it's too late for maybe Sue, the deal you're thinking of, it's not too late. If they go with a 1031 company, remember how that maintains non-constructive receipt? Then we open up a new window. Day 46 to day 181, we can save a failed 1031 exchange. So we've had that happen before. Someone's 2 days away from closing. Oh, no, the buyers remove all contingencies. No problem. Send it to a QI company. And on day 46, we can re-engage and we can do the deferred sales trust.
Okay, what about Doug? First off, I'm going to ask Mike Smith if he can just mute himself again. But also, Doug Benson asked the question, does the deed on the property ever reflect the trust? How does that work, the ownership?
Does the deed on, as far as the buyer takes it, he's taking clean title, okay? It makes no difference for how the buyer buys it from a trust. Think about it. If he bought it from an LLC, he bought it from a family living trust, he bought it from, it doesn't matter how the buyer takes title, okay?
No, but I guess the issue is, okay, because what we're saying here is at the closing table, not just do we have to create the trust document, but the deed has to reflect who you're buying the property from. And at this time, you're not buying it from Jack and Jill. You're buying it from the Deferred Sales Trust. So the deed would have to reflect that sales trust document, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Now, Ashley says, is the Deferred Sales Trust only applicable on commercial property or on residential too, as long as it's non-primary resident?
So it works for everything. Primary homes, investment property, businesses, collectibles, artwork, stocks, public and private stock. It's a completely separate tax code. It's IRC 453, which is just an installment sale, versus IRC 1031. These are separate tax deferral strategies, and they have different rules. This is part of why we can do so much more with ours, because we don't have to follow the 1031. So with that meaning, we have basically anything that's highly appreciated, we can use the Deferred Sales Trust for.
Excellent. All right. Yeah. It is, Sue, it is like a holding company. I mean, first off, that's what the trust is. The whole point of the holding company is Jack and Jill cannot touch the cash from the sale. They can't touch it. As soon as the IRS wants it.
So the deferred sales trust is like a holding company then? Or do Jack and Jill kind of become the holding company
No.
for the deferred sales trust?
No. Wait until Brett's going to get to this next point.
Yep.
Okay.
Where what happens when that $10 million goes into that sales trust? How does Jack and Jill get their hands on it? That's the question.
Yep. So they become the creditor, okay? They become the creditor. They're not the owner of the trust. They're not the beneficiary of the trust. They are the creditor. Just like Sue, if you bought a property and you took a loan on a property, you own the property, but the bank is a creditor and they have all the rights and all of the protections that a creditor has. So this is how we maintain non-constructive receipt. We're just doing in a traditional installment sale right here. This first part of it is just a traditional installment sale. The second part is where we're getting creative because we're having this buyer come in this third-party trust here. So which is part of why we have confidence in the structure and part of why we've survived 14 no-change audits, thousands of closings, have thousands of professionals who have joined us because it's based upon tried and true installment sale, which goes back to the 1920s. I'm going to go through this one more time so you guys see this, and then we're going to go on, and I bet you we're going to answer all your questions. Okay, I promise we will. And if we run out of time, you can contact me directly, and we can do more. Okay. So remember, they're going to sell to this trust, and instead of selling directly to I'm going to get my little arrow here. Instead of selling directly to the buyer, they're going to sell to the trust, and the trust is going to immediately sell to the cash buyer, and the money is going to go into the trust to maintain non-constructive receipt. Why is the seller going to do that? They're going to get a note for $10 million in exchange for a zero down payment, and the funds are sitting here. Where's here? Bank of New York Mellon, Charles Schwab, TD Ameritrade, the same places you take your financial advisor and they have the funds, it's there, okay? The funds can only ever move with the client's signature, the note holder signature. The trustee can never take the funds, okay? I have no action or no way to actually take any of the funds. So let's clear all drawings. So let's move on. Let's move on to the next page. So this is called the risk tolerance questionnaire, okay? The risk tolerance questionnaire determines how and where the funds are invested, which is probably your next question. And basically, your financial advisor of your choice will give an allocation based upon your experience and what kind of income you need and what kind of risk you want to take, okay? And this you fill out, you get a score. Based upon the score, there's the allocation. Now, Sue, you have to approve that allocation. You may say it's too aggressive, that's too conservative, I need more, I need less, no problem. Before the deal even closes, this thing's filled out. This becomes the constitution for how and where the funds are invested. Again, it works for just about any type of highly appreciated asset. Businesses, commercial real estate, investment properties, high-end primary homes, carried interest, okay?
Hey, Brett, I apologize for asking you to do this, but because you are the host, I can't control the muting of people. And if you look in the participants on the list of participants and scroll all the way down to the bottom, one guy has an open mic, Mike Smith, and if you could just mute, just click on his
Mike, we're gonna mute you here.
Yeah, just right mouse click.
I found him. I right click, stop video chat, rename, make host, remove. I don't have the mute thing for him.
Okay, let me see. Really, it doesn't mute him, huh? Because you're not okay. All right, I apologize. I've been trying to get a hold of Mike and ask him to mute.
I see him. He's looking for it. I just don't know if he knows how to do it.
Yeah.
Should I just keep going?
Yeah, just go on. Keep going. But before you do, let me ask you some of these questions because these dealt with that last slide. So let me start with Scott Stamps. So let me see, where'd Scott go? Scott had the question where he said, okay, can any failed 1031 exchange take advantage of this?
Yeah, and just with some, it depends. What day is it on? If you've already received the funds, that's technically failed, and it's
right.
Day 185. It's over, right?
Right.
You can't take. It has to be with a QI company, right?
Yeah.
A. B. We have to have the QI company cooperate. So we have had times when they've never heard of it, and they won't cooperate, and you're like, just send it to the trust. And so we have to arm wrestle them, and most of the time they say, okay, fine. because it makes no difference to them, but it makes all the difference to you. We do have QI companies that are already proficient in this and they know it. And so we actually recommend you use them for any. I send all of my deals to only approved deferred sales trust QI companies that will use it.